Hello, fans of all ages. We are indeed the Beast of the East, Ryan Morrick and Scott Thompson here with you on WRCR 90.3 FM. That's what happens when you record the show. Sorry for the overlap. We're trying a new experiment here in the WRPR studios. Way to point that out. That was pretty close. I forgot to do that.
That was clutch right there.
That was clutch. So, big news of the day, and if we sound a little upset, does it take a genius to find out why? The Yankees were shut out in the American League wildcard game last night by the score of 3-0 to the Houston Astros. Dallas Keuchel with an unbelievable outing, but Scott and I were at the game last night, and real quick, my gut feeling going into last night was that they were probably going to lose. We got there, and when they were announcing the lineups, I went down to the bleachers. You and Brandon stayed upstairs. And down there, it was the loudest I've ever heard Yankee Stadium, and it wasn't even a question. Jeter's last game I went to blew that away. Michael Kay said it also. He's been to World Series, this and that. Last night, and it goes back to the whole Yankee fan mentality. The 3 years felt like 10 years, and they were ready to just melt their faces, and then the offense did not give them a chance to continue that. Tanaka struck out the first two batters. The crowd was going insane. He went 1-2-3, and then second inning on, the crowd got up, and then A-Rod coming up with two men on. In the bottom of the sixth inning, the crowd went insane again. And then right after that, that was the turning point of the game right there. Right after that, the crowd was dead. And what we saw last night was the Yankee offense, once again, the second half struggles. And that's what it came down to last night.
Yeah, last night, I was in the 400 section.
Yeah.
Like you said. And I could see all around the ballpark. It looked a lot different than what September looked like. There was a packed house. There hasn't been playoff baseball in the Bronx for 2 years, and that's why, Ryan, I don't even know if you could hear yourself think when you were down there.
I couldn't hear myself scream, literally, and I was screaming at the top of my lungs.
Yeah, me and Brandon were having a grand old time up there. Yep. When they were announcing the lineups, everyone was screaming and yelling for everyone. It just felt like the Yankee aura that I'm used to going to, that we're used to going to. So, for me, I don't know. I feel like what really killed it was everyone was pumped up in that first inning, and Tanaka did a great job that 1-2-3 inning. Nothing really happened for the Yankees in the bottom of the first, but that Colby Rasmus home run just shut everybody up.
Yeah,
it went just completely dead, and then from there it was just, I don't know.
I think there were a couple of turning points last night. A-Rod popping out first pitch, and the stolen base. Well, I forgot who. It was the pinch runner. Whoever it was, when Altuve was up. Pinch runner stole the base on Dellin Betances, and we all know that's Dellin Betances' one bugaboo, that he can't pick off runners. And as soon as he saw that base, I said a base hit is going to give them the 3-0 lead. And as soon as they took the 3-0 lead, the crowd was dead for the rest of the night. But besides the point, the big story now that everyone is thinking about is Jacoby Ellsbury and Brett Gardner. Brett Gardner and Jacoby Ellsbury combined, I don't have an exact stat, but I want to say like 210 for the second half. And Joe Girardi decided to bring in Brett Gardner in last night's game against Dallas Keuchel. We all knew that one of them was going to sit last night because you had to bring in Chris Young, who has been dominating lefties all year long. He was batting .327 against lefties in the regular season, so he was a shoo-in. And I've been a big supporter of Joe Girardi, but bringing in Brett Gardner was, if Jacoby Ellsbury played, wouldn't have made much of a difference? No, I don't think so, because Keuchel was on, and no one else was hitting, and Jacoby's one at-bat, he popped out to short. But I think that you have to go, they're both veterans, obviously, but Jacoby Ellsbury is hitting over 300 in the postseason in his career. He just won a World Series with Boston 2 years ago. And I think he was on the 2007 team as a young stud. And Girardi said Brett Gardner is better against lefties than Jacoby Ellsbury. But when you look at that, you have to think that it's a 100-point difference. It was a 20-point difference. Garner's batting 276. Ellsbury was batting like 253, something like that. That's 6 hits. That's literally 6 hits. And then on top of that, you're paying the guy $21 or so million, and he sits at the bench. And I get that they have not been good, but Jacoby Ellsbury was hitting 290 in the final 2 weeks of the season. And you know what? There's something going on with Joe Girardi and Jacoby Ellsbury. Ever since last week when the rumor was that he got hurt, but he was actually healthy. So something's going on between Girardi and Ellsbury. But I think that if you have to pick one of the two, are Garner's numbers better? Yes. But Brett Garner had the 3rd worst batting average in the American League in the second half of the season. He could not, his swings last night, oh my God, disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. And
I said that.
And again, Jacoby Ellsbury, who knows what he would have done? Probably nothing. But you got to go with Jacoby Ellsbury last night.
Absolutely. And going back to when he did pinch hit for Chris Young, he pinched hit for Chris Young. Where does that make sense?
Because it was a righty.
Was it a righty?
Yes. Because it was the bottom of the 8th.
Okay.
They went lefty, righty.
Still, you have a guy that struck out 3 times and you don't pinch hit for him?
Even Brandon said it.
I'm sorry, but you said his swings were awful. Yep. I mean, Keuchel's got great stuff. I mean, you're a leadoff hitter who's supposed to have an eye, who's supposed to be able to work counts. Mm-hmm. That's your job. Swinging out of his shoes. I think almost all of his strikeouts were on curveballs, and he finished with one hand off the bat, and he was leaning completely to the right side. He just didn't look in the game at all. And I don't know, like you said, it was only a 20-point difference. I get that. But you're paying Jacoby big money. You're paying Jacoby $21.14 million to be exact. And you don't play him, who has those 2 rings already, who knows how playoff baseball works.
And granted, Brett Garner does have a ring, but he was not a big part of that 2019.
No. So, I don't know. Could that be a decision that was costly to the Yankees? No. There's obviously other things that happened. Tanaka couldn't find the strike zone after the first inning, and that's what led to a lot of hits, and there's a lot of stuff. But I think Jacoby Ellsbury not playing was probably, I wouldn't say it's a key factor in that game, but it's definitely a thought that you have to think about.
Yeah, it wasn't a key factor because Jacoby Ellsbury, who knows what he would have done. By the way, Brett Garner had 135 strikeouts this year. He's averaging just under 1 a game, but I feel like every time it's a 2-strike count on Garner, it's a strikeout. And I remember Chris Sheeran, who we had on Monday night, I tweeted to him a couple of weeks ago, and he gave me stats on what Brett Garner's numbers are on an 0-2 count. And at the time, he was like 11 for 89 with 44 strikeouts. So when this guy's in a hole, and that's another thing the Yankees did last night, they took first pitch, and they were immediately down in the count, and then Keuchel blew them away. Keuchel will outsmart you. And then going back to the Yankee offense, the Astros bullpen had the worst ERA since mid-August in the American League. The Yankees had 1 base runner against that bullpen.
They were taking pitches right down the pipe against the bullpen. The minute Keuchel's out and you're down 2-0 at that point, you're not going to go up and hack? Come on, these guys were throwing fastballs first pitch the entire time. We saw it.
Yep.
Sip was throwing fastballs right down the pipe. And everyone sat back and looked at it, and it makes no sense. I didn't see any sense of urgency, especially in the latter half, the 7, 8, and 9. There was just really no urgency from any Yankee. Heads were down. No one was really on the fence trying to cheer on the team, and like you said, that going back to that play in the bottom of the 6th when A-Rod got up with first and second, that was a huge turning point in that game.
Crowd was going wild. They had to
I couldn't hear myself. They had to call a timeout and
call a timeout actually.
Yeah. But and A-Rod swings first pitch. I don't really understand that.
Looking at the replay, it was in his zone.
Okay.
And it is. We're saying to ourselves, you can't look first pitch, but
no. But Keuchel did throw, I think, like a 6 or 7 pitch at bat where he walked Carlos Beltran. No, wait, no.
It was Beltran.
Thought he got a hit.
No, Beltran got the hit. Someone, I don't even remember if it was that inning, but someone had a really long at bat. Really long at
Yeah,
bat.
think about it. It had to be. I think it was Didi. I think Didi was on.
I think so.
Yeah. So, A-Rod comes up with 2 outs, first and second. Could possibly give the lead.
Yep.
And it's just it blows my mind that you have Keuchel at almost 90 pitches. You can see him wavering a little bit because he did go deep into counts. That you swing first pitch on him. I don't know if the pitch was a fastball or anything, but
I think if
you're going to swing first pitch, A-Rod kind of took like a mediocre swing. I thought he would take a hack at that ball.
Yeah.
He kind of just swung and easy pop out. But that was a huge turning point. After that, it was just downhill from there for the Yankees.
The story of the second half was that the offense could not contribute, and you look at the stats, and they had the second or third best offense in the league, but that was because they went off in May and June and even July, and then their age showed, and they had a couple of injuries. Their MVP, Mark Teixeira, got injured, and then
Well, I mean, granted, Dallas Keuchel, 22 innings, 0.00 ERA. Only giving up 12 hits and 2 walks, and he's got 28 strikeouts, Ryan. That's over 8 a game against the Yankees. So, proves that he is just a Yankee killer in the beginning of his career. So,
and that reminds me, going back to what Girardi's decision was with Gardner and Ellsbury. Gardner had the better stats against lefties, but I don't think Gardner looked at the stats against Keuchel. Brett Gardner did not face Keuchel this year. Last year, when he did face Keuchel, hitless, and I believe 4 at-bats. Ellsbury, 4 hits against Keuchel this year alone. So
doesn't make sense to me. Doesn't make sense.
And again, you're not going to harp on Jacoby and Brett Gardner. That's not the turning point of the game.
No.
The turning point in the game is that they had 3 hits all game, and that they couldn't get a base runner against the worst bullpen in the American League. That's the difference right there.
Well, look at what we said. When Colby Rasmus hit that home run, me and Brandon both looked at each other and said, this game could definitely go 1-0 Astros win.
Yep.
Because Keuchel was coasting through that game, and you were like, please, 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 can the bullpen come in? So it was just Astros 1 through 9 innings. It was just their game, and hats off to them. They put together a great team this year out of almost nothing. Like George pointed out last night, Jacoby's making $21.14 million a year. The Astros' entire salary is about $29 million. Yep. So these guys, they put together the team. AJ Hinch did a great job with this team, and hats off to them. Good luck going into KC, and you know what? They beat the Yankees through and through. There was no discrepancy. They were the better team last night.
And you know what? All year long, I said that the Yankees did not have an identity. I found out their identity last night. They were hot. Literally, what everyone says about the Yankees is true. They are an old team. They're going to wear down. And that's how it was. It was that simple. Ryan Warwick and Scott Thompson, Beast of the East on WRPR 90.3 FM. In a couple of minutes, we're going to have a special guest on the show. Bald Vinny Milano of the Bleacher Creatures is going to come on. Should be a pretty fun few minutes. We're going to talk about a lot about his business, about his diehard fandom. Bald Vinny was going off last night. Before the roll call, he was going insane. Oh, speaking of roll call, Carlos Gomez.
Oh, don't even get me started with that.
Certified you-know-what. I don't even know if I can say the bleeped out term on the air. You know where I'm going.
All right, so I'm going to cut you off so you don't say anything.
Yeah, go ahead.
Ryan comes up, because me and Brandon are in the 400 section. Again, we were sitting in our seats, and Ryan comes back up to the seats after he was with the bleachers, and he goes, I am mad. I'm like, what? He's like, there's no score yet. He goes, after the announcer called out both the Astros and the Yankees lineups, the teams were jogging across the field, and Carlos Gomez went to the Bleacher Creatures and decided to stretch right in front of them, and obviously that's not going to bode well for the Bleacher Creatures, who were calling him a bunch of names and everything, but he was taunting, and I don't know. I get that you play hard. There's like people like Bryce Harper who, he gets heated and everything else, and you know what? to me, I just don't get how you can taunt and you can act like the way you do. And the way Carlos Gomez goes about himself is, yes, he's a hard, competitive player, but there's a fine line between being a player like that and just... There's a fine line between being a player like that and just... Yeah, so it's just... Carlos Gomez, I don't like how you go about yourself is basically what it comes down to. That just wasn't sportsmanlike. It wasn't baseball-like. Really got to clean up his act.
Yeah, Carlos Gomez, really, I mean, I get that the guy plays hard and whatnot, but you can't have your entire career based on how people hate you. No. I mean, that's just...
Why do you think he's been shopped around these past few years? He's a great player. But what he does off the field and in the locker room is just unacceptable.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system.
So, I don't know. It just comes down to, how do you want to be remembered? You want to be remembered as that guy, basically, in the locker room, the guy that just went after everyone and picked fights with his own team and all the other teams, and I couldn't tell you how many times on the Brewers he's been ejected. Or I know Garrett Cole hates him.
Brian McCann hates him.
Oh yeah, you remember when he stepped in front of home plate?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, again, I think Scott said before, I mean, the guy plays hard, and very good baseball player, very smart, but his main goal is to get people mad. His main goal isn't to go out there and...
This isn't football. This isn't basketball. You're not going to trash talk one person per game. This is not how that works.
It's different to like athletes in those kind of sports.
Yeah,
You're supposed to, but baseball is a game of respect. And...
For me, he doesn't have any. I don't have any respect for him.
No.
Unfortunately. He is a great player.
But we're still waiting on Bald Vinny. While we wait, I want to talk about Joe Girardi. Okay, you want to blame this season on Joe Girardi, that's fine. The Yankees were not supposed to win 87 games. They were barely supposed to win 80. Joe Girardi brought this team to the postseason, okay? Injury-plagued, no depth. Does he overmanage? Yes. Does he love the binder? Yes. But if you want a guy who's going to back up your teammates and tell it like it is, that is Joe Girardi. Joe Girardi is going to be a top 5 AL Manager of the Year this year, and it's no question. You can hate Joe Girardi all you want. That's fine. Do I love him? No. Do I hate him? No. But Joe Girardi brought this team the Yankees are not an 87-win team. They're just not. They're not an 87-win team. And we saw it. Again, we saw it because of their age and whatnot, and they were hot in May and June and July. Unfortunately, none of that matters. All it came down to was last night, and they lost. You want to blame Jacoby and Garner's offensive struggles on Girardi? Okay, yeah, go ahead. You want to blame the bullpen imploding on Girardi? Okay. You want to blame the injuries to Teixeira and Tanaka and Miller and everyone else on Girardi? Go ahead. This team had no depth, and Girardi brought them to 87 wins and an AL wildcard appearance. This season was a Yankee success. I know some people aren't going to realize that because they think World Series a bust, but you need to think about it as a realistic Yankee fan. This season was a success for the Yankees.
I mean, you hit the nail on the head right there, Ryan. We've been saying this for the past month, that Girardi was dealing with what he had, and it wasn't much. It was young guys trying to make their name, and people like A-Rod and Beltran trying to keep their glory days in the present instead of in the past. So, hats off to Joe Girardi. I love Joe Girardi ever since he came in. He reminded me of Torre a lot. He says it how it is. He's not very emotional, and he just, he goes with the flow. And I love how he has not given the blame to himself, but he says in press conferences almost that I'll take the blame, and that's being a man and saying, I'm the manager, but at the end of the day, you got to look at what he had, what he didn't have, and the team he put on the field, the way they got to the wild card game. It was just it was great. And like we said last night, we were walking down and we said this season was a success. I don't care what anybody says.
Yep.
Just got to look forward to 2016 and go from there.
And you know what? You can say the same thing about Brian Cashman. You can say that he wanted to trade make a move, get Price, get this,
No,
get
I
that.
love that he stayed with the young guys. I love that he believed in his farm system.
And you know what? It's not even that. They can still get Price right now.
Yeah. They get a lot of people.
It's not like David Price was. It's not like Tulowitzki where he's still under contract for 6 or 7 years. David Price is a free agent after this postseason. There goes my voice from last night.
I know.
But David Price, they can still get him. If you really would rather have David Price for a championship that's not even guaranteed, would David Price have made that much of a difference this year?
I mean, he did go off in the second half, but
Right.
but honestly, I feel like he almost wanted out of Detroit. There was very, very iffy there. Verlander wasn't producing, and the team just looked in the beginning. Cespedes knew he was about to leave too, so David Price went off, and he loves the Blue Jays, which is kind of like a little scary going.
Yeah.
I mean, into the postseason if you want David Price because he's loving it over there. But like you said, instead of just shopping away your top prospects, Brian Cashman is sticking to his plan and trying to build up these guys like Refsnyder and Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge, if Carlos Beltran isn't your starting right fielder next year, Aaron Judge will probably be there.
Yeah.
Aaron Judge is great. We saw in spring training, he's just a mammoth. He's been compared to Giancarlo Stanton stature-wise. But I love how we didn't just shop away our young guys. Severino, great job of keeping him here because he's solidified himself as a great 1 or 2 pitcher. So kudos to Brian Cashman.
Yankee fans, would you rather have a 3-month rental for something that's not even guaranteed, or would you rather throw away the future? And you know what? I'd rather have the latter. I would much rather have the future. Ladies and gentlemen, we got Bald Vinny. Oh, my voice just cracked from last night. Here we go again. Bald Vinny Milano on the line. Vinny, what's going on? How are you doing? Probably a dumb question after last night, but what's going on?
Not a hell of a lot. Trying to work my way through the depression of my winter starting a little bit earlier than I really liked it to start.
Same thing for us. So, first things first, we've heard a million stories about how the roll call originally got started. We don't know the truth. How did the roll call start?
The roll call got started because the bleacher creatures were really, really bored.
That's good.
That's really how it happened, because you sit out in the cheap seats, and it was an afternoon game against the White Sox in like '97, and people were going around. We always had a great rapport with the guys in the outfield because they're, the right field and center field are pretty close. They're in shouting distance. But it was like, hey, do you think we can get Tino to wave? That was literally it. He turned around and we were like, oh my God, they hear us. And for us, that was really like the light bulb going off. Because you never get the interaction. Nobody ever turns around. You never get, you can be at a football game or basketball, hockey, whatever, and chant players' names, and getting anybody to acknowledge their existence is slim.
Right.
But in baseball, they have the quiet times. It is a little slower of a sport, and in between pitches, they have to have a moment to turn around and acknowledge the fans. And for us, it just kind of turned into like a home field advantage type thing. We always let the players know we got their backs. We're always in their corner every night, whether it's raining, whether it's a playoff game, or the dog days of summer. The creatures are out there supporting our team.
Mm. All right, so like you said, it started in '97. So what has changed from the start of the creatures up until now?
I guess it's really just the people who are out there. We used to have a really tight-knit, small group of people who all knew each other. We weren't really like a quote-unquote group. We were just a bunch of friends, We all went to the game together. Back then, it used to be general admission, so there were no assigned seats. The creatures are the ones who actually got the bleachers to be assigned seating.
Wow.
With the Yankees because they started making the playoffs in the late '90s, And, we were guys who were going to like 60, 70 games who were waiting online for general admission tickets, getting out of work. And, we had buddies, if I knew my buddy was getting up there early, he would grab one for me. Seats for each other because we were all regulars, but then the playoffs would roll around and we were all getting shut out because the tickets were going on sale to the general public. So we actually petitioned with the Yankees to get season tickets made out in the bleachers. We actually got it changed from general admission to assigned seating.
Okay. I know that.
Those people that back then in those days are really the ones that are different because we used to be, like I said, a small group back then, and we brought over 167 full season tickets in 2009.
Wow.
It's definitely grown, but like I said, I miss the small group feel of our old section.
We're kind of included in that group.
Yeah.
We ruined it for you. Sorry, Vinny.
Dude, it's not, no, but see, like in another sense, I mean, you guys know that for me, this is a job now.
Right.
I started a business out of my passion for the bleachers and the Yankees. So for me, it's awesome. I love that people come and hang out and people want to do roll call and that they had to put extra security at Section 203 because people try to sneak in to hang out with us. Like, I love that stuff.
Right.
Yeah. Because that does benefit me and my brand and whatnot. So I'm all for Yankee fans making noise. Like,
Good.
Let's lead off with that. You know what I mean?
Right.
The stadium it's no secret to anybody. It's not the intensity that it used to be. Last night was great.
Yeah, we said that it was the loudest I've ever heard it, and I went to Jeter's last game, and it was loud.
It was fantastic. I mean, those first 3 innings, I was sweating bullets, man. I was screaming.
I saw you.
Awesome, I mean, I was having a blast. And then, but when you don't have anything to cheer for, it's tough to keep that up through 9 innings.
Yeah.
But, it was really great to see a little bit of electricity in the building last night.
Right. You mentioned how this is your job now. Was this the plan, being the leader of the Bleacher Creatures, starting a business, making T-shirts, and being very successful at it? Was this the plan when you were mine and Scott's age?
How old are you guys?
We're both
20.
Yeah.
No, dude, that wasn't really part of the plan. I used to work .com sales, and I sold advertising back in the day. And the bubble burst, and I was single, and they gave me a big severance check, and I collected unemployment and followed the Yankees around the country like a fool. And we had a blast. And it was, I went out in L.A., and I met a buddy of mine who is actually one of my sponsors, a great guy by the name of Todd Green, who runs a company called Headblade, which is a product made for guys to shave their heads. People see me promoting it on social media all the time. It's absolutely fantastic. I live and die by it. And we went to some trade show in Vegas. Like, we drove through the desert, and I, found this silkscreen equipment, and I decided that, we were going to start a brand. And originally, my plan was like, we're going to do this stuff, and I'm going to get picked up, and I'm going to get licensing, and I'm going to work for the Yankees, and P.S., 16 years later, and, that's still a mountain that we're trying to climb because of, of the situations that we face, and small business owners with licensing, and the bigger parent companies, and who owns logos and whatnot. So, did I know that if I knew back then what I know now, would I have done it? Who knows? But I definitely have had a great ride, and I've done some crazy Yankee stuff that fans would kill for. You know what I mean? And that's the stuff that I cherish. Those are the memories that, like, we were at a picture day a few years ago. I don't know how many people are familiar. You're a season ticket holder. You get invited to a photo day at Yankee Stadium. They line fans up all around the warning track, and the players come out and they take pictures. Some are more, friendly than others, and some people jet through or whatever. But the very, very first year, we were all hanging out. And a couple of days prior, Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor sat in the bleachers and did roll call with us. Cool. It was super cool, but we were in, like, every newspaper. So, like, the line's going through, and Jeter comes by. Derek Jeter looks at me, and he's like, "Oh, Vinny, you looked awesome in the post the other day." Oh, pardon me while I go die, right?
We probably do the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
Right, exactly. Like, things like that those are going to be the memories that I hold forever, regardless of whatever the T-shirts do, or, being on ESPN doing roll call or whatever. I mean, those are the little things, the fundraising stuff we get to do with Switcher and Cano and D-Rob and all those guys. Like, that's the stuff that's really going to be, it for me. That's the stuff I hold on to.
All right, so a two-parter right here. I want to know what your favorite tradition was, and what is your favorite shirt that you have designed over these years?
What was the first part?
What's your favorite bleacher creature tradition?
Well, my favorite bleacher creature tradition, unfortunately, doesn't get done anymore because we're not allowed to say a lot of the bad stuff we used to say back in the old days.
Yeah, I know. Ryan was mentioning that to me before. Yeah.
Yeah. So we used to have a song without going too deep into any of the lyrics or whatnot. But it was really a crowd participation song that was done by a local comedian. His name was Dr. Dirty. I don't know if you're familiar. He used to do a song called The Gangbang.
Oh!
But yeah, we used to do The Gangbang in the 8th inning if the Yankees were winning. Only when the Yankees were winning. It was done by this one young guy. His name was Steve.
Yep.
Gangbang Steve. And he was, and when I'm saying he was young, like he was definitely like under 25 young. And we would get up on a bench and we'd lead the whole crowd in the song. And we would include Paul O'Neill, we would include Bernie Williams. Back in the day, we would include Darryl Strawberry.
Chad Curtis.
Mets fans, Red Sox fans. And it was a riot. We used to laugh. Everybody used to laugh back then. I mean, it used to be just so much fun. And that's part of the tradition I miss absolutely the most.
Yeah.
Definitely. What was the other one of my favorite shirts that I made? I'm going to have to go with the first one because it's the only one that I'm still selling after like 16 years. It's just a regular plain gray t-shirt. It says the right field bleachers on it, Bronx, New York. It's like my classic white tee, you know what I mean? It's everybody. It's like the easiest athletic shirt to make ever. It was the first shirt I ever made on my own. Like when I started the company, like I didn't go out and purchase inventory from somebody. Like I found a silkscreen machine. I took a 2-day trip with my best friend down to Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and I learned how to make T-shirts from the shop. And I had like no experience. I dumped all my money into this equipment. It showed up. It ran out of my parents' basement for like the first 5 or 6 years, and had no idea how to do anything. And that was the first shirt I ever created. It came out pretty cool. I guess it's cool enough to the fact that about 16 years later I'm still selling it. So I guess I'm gonna have to go with that one.
That's awesome.
So, really standard question: what the heck happened to the Yankees last night?
Well, I don't think it was just last night.
Well, true.
I think the writing was on the wall for the last month or so.
Yep.
We just don't hit. You know, I think it really all stems and all really started to fall apart with the Teixeira injury. You know, he was a really big, not only a big power bat in our lineup, but a switching power bat. Offers a lot of protection. I mean, you saw how A-Rod's production dropped. After Teixeira was out of the lineup, and then you have these young kids who still did admirably. Ref Snyder, Bird, did a fantastic job, but not enough. Or really what you were looking for at the time to really pull you through. Now, it's really funny, and I've been saying this a bunch, and I read it online a couple of days ago, but the Yankees have this dubious distinction of overachieving and being incredibly disappointing at the same time.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's really hard to do,
That's the Yankees.
It's oxymoron, but yeah.
But like there are so many, like you look back, we had a 7-game league back in July, and you kind of squander it away. And
right.
I don't know how many guys follow me on Twitter or Facebook or whatnot, but I was doing a weekly podcast on CBS with Neil Keith, and we would talk at the beginning of every homestand and about the same thing. I'm like, what's going on, man? I don't know. And you follow the progression through the season. You almost see the writing on the wall as the pieces started to fall. Because from the very beginning, it's can all these old guys stay healthy?
All right. So,
from the beginning, we thought it was going to be Beltran and A-Rod who broke down.
Oh yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Right? So seeing that it's Teixeira once again, I love the guy to death. He's got a lot of heart. I just feel like he's made out of glass. I don't think I'm the only Yankee fan who kind of feels that way.
No, not at all. No.
And believe me, I would never even begin to imagine the rigors that they put their bodies through on a daily basis in terms of working out and stretching, whatever. I know it's a really tough sport. I know, like, a sprain in baseball is not like a sprain, like, you're riding your bike with your kids and you're spraining. You know what I mean? I know that they're different. They're completely different. But, the inability to heal or to come back from injury on a year-to-year basis, it's just really tough, especially when you have so much money sunk into these guys. So
Yeah.
I think really that's where, it started to fall apart. And, the problems we had with our pitching staff were the same thing. One injury forces you to make changes, and the guys that were available out of your bullpen, especially in, when we had those last couple of series against the Blue Jays, you're putting these really young kids in with no experience in very, very high leverage situations. That somebody's going to fail. So, unfortunately, that's just a byproduct of some of those injuries we faced.
All right, well, hopefully the Yankees can get back from those injuries. So now that the season is over, what does Bald Vinny do in the offseason?
Well, Bald Vinny's a dad. I got 2 little kids at home.
Okay.
So, I'm a stay-at-home dad, and I still run a traditional silkscreen and embroidery business. I do custom printing and stitching for various schools and businesses around the neighborhood, and, we do a couple of sports teams within the Little League system. And I just try to keep busy doing that until baseball rolls around.
All right.
Bald Vinny Milano here with Ryan Morick and Scott Thompson on WRPR 90.3 FM. Before I let you go, Vinny, we hear just about every single year that your future in the bleachers is a question. There's always that. You got to do this, you got to do that. What is the future like for you as of right now?
I'll tell you, it's kind of like I alluded to earlier. I started the business with hopes of taking it to certain places, and every year when you're not realizing those goals, it's difficult, especially when your priorities change. Like I mentioned, I started this business as a single dude. I lived alone. I ran it out of my parents' basement. It was very fly by the seat of your pants. Wasn't really planning on making a future out of it. Then, you get married, you have a house, and you have kids, and taking 6 months off of not having a daily job to go to becomes a difficult thing. So I've been trying to move on for the past few years. Fortunately, it's been really hard for me to split my time.
Right.
It's a really good business at the stadium. I have a lot of fun up there. It's definitely a blast meeting Yankee fans all day long. I sell T-shirts. I make the stuff. I don't really sell the stuff. I have somebody who works for me. He's awesome. He's like my right-hand man. He covers me. And I sit there and I talk baseball all day. I mean, who wouldn't want to do that? It's like the most awesome job in the world.
That's what we want to do. That's what we're here for.
It's tough, though, because you see what goes on at the stadium. We start losing a bunch. People don't show up. That's not my fault. You know what I mean? My stuff is good. I'm there early. I'm there butt breaking my hump. I can't help it if the Yankees don't draw. Mm-hmm. And that's just become tough for me. Like I said, as a dad and as a father, as a homeowner, and so I'm always looking for something that I can do full time. But in the same breath, I really don't feel like I can do anything else but be Bald Vinny and do the Bleacher Creatures thing. And
exactly.
Maybe there's a happy medium out there somewhere. Who knows? Maybe I find the dream job that takes me away somewhere else. Who knows, man? But as always, I start every winter with optimism because I got 6 more months to fill. And, you got to do something. So, if anybody's hiring, hit me up.
Bald Vinny Milano of the Bleacher Creatures, thank you very much for coming on, Vinny. We really appreciate it.
Come on, guys. You guys are new to this. You got to get the plugs in, right?
Yeah, but
if you guys are Yankee fans, make sure you check me out, baldvinny.com. Right, you can follow me on Instagram at BaldVinny, Twitter at BaldVinny, and of course Facebook, BaldVinny203 is the fan page. All original Yankee fan apparel, not the stuff you're going to find at Modell's. Kind of a little edgy, a little hardcore. We cater to a real hardcore Yankee fan base, so something unique. Definitely check us out.
Yes, sir. Go check out that website, baldvinny.com. A lot of great merchandise. I have a lot of it. One of my personal favorites, I have it, is the Band the Wave shirt. Love it. Big fan. Can't hate the wave. Scott almost started last night.
Just to get him mad.
There's no way. There's really no other way for 30,000 people to simultaneously scream, "I'm bored."
You hear that?
And it's always like a 1-0 game. Like, come on, man. That's what you're paid to see. That's what you're there to see that stuff. If that really bores you, go somewhere else. You can go see like Mamma Mia or something.
Couldn't agree more. Vinny, thank you very much. Best of luck in the off season and for the rest of the future. Hopefully we will talk to you soon.
Thank you, gentlemen. I really appreciate you having me on there. Thanks, guys.
All right, take care, Vinny.
Take care. All right.
Well, it's Ball Vinny Milano of the Bleacher Crews. Have you ever seen a video of the gangbang?
Yes. I actually saw the video. My brother showed me it. I was too young, and he shouldn't have, and my mom got mad, actually. I remember that.
Great tradition, though. But yeah, Walt Vinny does a great job. Last night he was pumped, and if you want to look up to someone as a fan, that's the guy to look up to.
He's the fan.
He's been to over 1,500 Yankee games, I'd say, and he made his own business about the Yankees.
Yeah, he's
complete diehard fan right there.
Great guy. We met him before the game last night. He was just bursting with joy. He's just a great guy to talk to, great guy to be around, and that's what you need if you're trying to lead a whole crowd, and he does it very well.
One thing I hate about the Yankees is that they won't pick him up.
No.
And
he's been there for years. He's been on TV. He's been, like you said, he's been on SportsCenter. He's been on ESPN for different times. They know the roll call's coming, and they zoom in on his face to do it. So, I don't know. He's a staple of the Yankees.
Yep, definitely. Scotty T, take us through.
All right.
Oh,
wrong song.
It's all right. I'm new to this.
Jeez.
No, I'm not.
All right. Random Pro Roadrunner updates. This Sunday, the men's soccer team is joining forces with a bunch of fraternities to host a special event to honor Kenny Garcia, a member of the soccer team who sadly passed away July 14th of this year after a very short battle with cancer. There will be 3-on-3 basketball games and 6v6 volleyball games costing $15 and $20 per team, respectively, at the Laurel Courts from 11 to 3 p.m. All proceeds will be going to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, so check that out. Women's volleyball earned a key win last night over NJAC rival Kane University, winning 3-1. They improved to 13-5, 3-1 in the conference. Larissa Iwascu again having a great game. She had 31 kills, leading the Roadrunners in that category. Emily Guzman had 9 kills as well. They will have another NJAC match in their next bout at Rowan University next Tuesday, so check that out. Men's tennis earned a 7-2 win over Mount St. Mary yesterday. The team remains undefeated at 2-0 on the season. They will return to action on Thursday, October 8th, when they face Bard University at 5 p.m. at the Athletic Center. Women's tennis also beat Mount St. Mary's 9-0 yesterday. They blanked them. They improved to 8-1 on the season. They will also take on Bard University at 5. On to pro updates. The MLB pro season kicked off last night in the Bronx, as we were saying before, against the Houston Astros. The Astros beat the Yankees 3-0 to earn their spot in the ALDS. Astros starter Dallas Keuchel proved once again that the Yankees are no match for his stuff. He threw 6 scoreless innings, giving up only 3 hits, and had 7 Ks. On the other side of the ball, Masahiro Tanaka was not on his A game, giving up 2 crucial home runs to Colby Rasmus in the second inning and Carlos Gomez in the 4th inning. It was a disappointing loss for the Yanks, who will now be making their tea times, while the Stros will travel to Kansas City to take on the Royals in their ALDS matchup. On to the NFL, Odell Beckham Jr., the New York Giant, was fined $9,000 for throwing punches during their latest game against the Bills. And hockey's underway, Ryan.
Yes.
Hockey's officially underway. The 2015-2016 NHL season starts tonight. In the New York area, the New York Rangers will play the Blackhawks tomorrow in Chicago, and the Devils will take on the Jets. That's the hockey Jets, not the football Jets, at the Rock Friday night. And just to mention, Marty Brodeur signed a contract with the Devils just to have his number retired. That will happen on February 9th in a game against the Oilers. So, yeah. Ryan Moore, Scott Thompson, WRPR 90.3 FM. Those were your updates. We'll be back after a couple minutes. Just to scratch that, I messed up in my updates, Ryan.
You're not going to appreciate what song is on right now?
Scratch that. I just want to say it real quick, though. The Rangers are actually playing tonight against Chicago at 8 p.m.
That's my fault. I told you it was tomorrow.
I don't care. I should have checked it. So 8 p.m. tonight, Rangers kick off their season. Devils do play Friday, though.
Devils do play Friday.
So that was my little hiccup.
So let's get into the hockey talk. Apparently, the Rangers are playing tonight. I'm going to look that up just to...
Not apparently, they are. George said, so George is always right.
Today, 8 o'clock. Wow, I didn't know that. But yeah, the Rangers will kick off the 2015-2016 season in Chicago tonight to take on the defending Stanley Cup champion Blackhawks. Last year ended in, I guess, misery for the New York Rangers. They ended their season in Game 7 against the Tampa Bay Lightning at the Garden in the Eastern Conference Finals. And you know what? The year before that, they made it to the Stanley Cup Finals. Last year, they were one game away. And you know what? They might do it again this year. They are a very good team. And I think their offense has gotten better. Remember, they have Rick Nash. Now they got rid of, well, they didn't get rid of St. Louis, but he retired. Who else? They have Matt Zuccarello, who's going to come back. Matt Zuccarello being out of the playoffs last year hurt that team.
Was big time, big time. They lost Carl Hagelin as well. Carl Hagelin got traded. But they have Stepan, Nash, Broussard, Kreider, Zuccarello. They have that bunch.
Yep.
Henrik Lundqvist turns 34.
Which
doesn't matter because he's just a tank in net as always. But I'm optimistic for the Rangers. I think it's the third time's a charm. They've gotten there. They're playing hard. They just had a couple injuries that didn't work out at the right time. Like Zuccarello was completely missed because he was having such a good latter half of the season, and then once the postseason came around, unfortunately he wasn't there. But I don't know if losing Hagelin is going to be a big difference. I mean, yes, he is a speedster. He did come crucial in those 2-on-1s, 3-on-2s. Yep. So I don't know. I just feel like the Rangers this year, again, have a great chance that they can put everything together. If everyone stays healthy, they have a great chance to make it into the playoffs.
I think the big thing about the Rangers is that half of their team is under the age of 30. And on top of that, you have Henrik Lundqvist, who's turning 34 this year, and Rick Nash, who's only going to turn 31 this year.
And people who were yelling, trade Rick Nash, please.
Yeah,
please.
That's got to stop.
Yeah.
That's got to stop. But in all seriousness, the Rangers are a young team with a lot of chemistry. And I think what hurt them last year, I hate to say this, but Marty St. Louis' mother passing away suddenly really had when the year they made it to the Stanley Cup Finals, that really gathered the team around. They were down 3-1 to the Penguins.
Yeah.
And the Penguins, a couple of years ago, were a very good team. Did they even make the playoffs last year? Or
no,
were they the 8th seed?
But just talking about the Penguins real quick, I think they're going to win the Metropolitan Division this year.
Really?
That's my prediction for the season. The Penguins look very good this year.
They do look very good. Crosby's been injury-plagued this year. You have to assume he's healthy. But going back on track to the Rangers really quickly, the death of St. Louis' mother really gave this team something to play for, and that helped a lot, and that's why they made it to the Stanley Cup Finals. Were they the best team in the East? I don't think so. They played a very good Montreal team. Even that series went into 7 games, and Montreal has Carey Price, who won the Vezina last year. They still have P.K. Subban. They have a very solid team, and you know how Montreal is with their fans. The Bell Center is incredible.
Oh, yeah.
But the Rangers, again, half of their team is under 30, and you have Rick Nash and you have Henrik Lundqvist, who play like they're well under 30 years old. So the Rangers, I don't think they're the favorites in the East because I think that's going to go to the Lightning again. I think the Lightning are a very, very good team.
And even in the division, I think it's between Pittsburgh, like I said, or Capitals. Capitals got TJ Oshie. Ovechkin now has someone who he can really have fun with on the ice. So this Washington team is looking very good. They're young as well.
Yep.
So
the Capitals were literally Holtby and Ovechkin, and that was it. And the Lightning probably would have won the Stanley Cup last year if they had a better goaltender, because the Blackhawks and the Lightning last year were really like the same team. Very good offenses.
But Corey Crawford's
just the better goal. And Corey Crawford's no elite goaltender, but Ben Bishop is not a very good goalie. He's just long and lanky, and he gets his pads on the puck somehow, some way. And that's why the Chicago Blackhawks won the Stanley Cup. I think they were the best team in the league last year. Them and the Rangers, I think, were the top 2 in the league. And the Rangers couldn't get it done last year in Game 7 against the Lightning. But this year, completely different. They made some moves. We'll have to see if they hurt or if they fail. But the Rangers are a top team in the East, and I think they'll continue to be as long as Rick Nash and Henrik Lundqvist are on that team, and as long as that young chemistry is all together.
I know, and this is what's scaring me, because with this whole division thing now, which is smart, putting them all in closer-knit groups, the Devils don't look like they're going to really have a good chance at even coming close to this division this year.
No.
They're a young team, switching over. New Jersey Devils, they're a young team. Adam Henrique, who's their prolific goal scorer, is only 25 years old. So Henrique, who's been the anchor along with Travis Zajac and Bryce Salvador, these guys are very young. And
Didn't Salvador retire?
Did he?
I thought I heard
he was
that
my
somewhere.
favorite. Anyway.
He was your favorite?
He was my favorite. Oh, I love him. Oh, he played hard. He hit hard, too.
Is a Canadian former. Yeah, he retired.
He retired. So, yeah. So, a lot of it is going to fall onto now Zajac and Henrique this year to score those goals. I mean, their defense is okay. Andy Green, Adam Larson, Eric Jelna.
Mm-hmm.
So, we'll see what happens. I mean, they got John Moore, though.
Yeah.
They got John Moore from the Rangers. So, we'll see if he fits in there. Their big guy, Seth, I can never say it, Helgensen.
Yeah.
He played last year at the end of the season. He's going to start off in Albany in the AHL, but you can look for him to come up anytime. Big guy. He's definitely going to be a key factor on this Devils defense because they're definitely going to need a lot of defense because they don't have a lot of scoring threats.
I think Andy Green is one of the more underrated defensemen in the league. He puts up very good offensive numbers. Does he have the body of a defenseman? Absolutely not. I don't even think he's 6 feet tall. He's not a very big dude.
He's 5'11", 190.
Yeah, he's very small, but he knows how to play, and I think he works with this Devil system really well. He's an alternate captain, and rightfully so. Not a veteran, but the guy can play. His tenure will increase. And what you said about Adam Henrique, he's their prolific goal scorer, and I don't even think he led the team with 20. No, Camilleri led the team with 27 goals last year.
Is Camilleri back?
Yes, he signed a 5-year deal.
Oh, awesome.
But you have Henrique and Camilleri, who are probably going to be your top 2 goal scorers, but they're scoring 25 goals each. Look at the Rangers. I mean, I know the Rangers and Devils are like apples and oranges, but 7 people for the Rangers last year had 27 or more goals, and the leading goal scorer on the Devils was with 27 goals. So the Devil offense really is not good. And you have Corey Schneider, who a couple years ago, back in 2014, he could have been on the Olympic roster. He was even up there in the Vezina votes, I think. At one point, he led the league in saves, and he was up there in goals against and save percentage. But the Devil offense can't help him out.
Yeah,
they can't help him out.
Well, look for him to do that again. I mean, he's coming in only as his second year as the full-time goalie for
first year
for
was
the
split
Devils.
with Marty.
So look for him again to be making a lot of saves, and he's going to be a major factor coming off of a season where you can't blame him. I mean, the games that I went to, he had 20+ saves, but they would lose 3-1, 3-2. So trying to get less shots on him, but he's a great guy, great goalie. So look for him again to be up there, and hopefully he can be a brick wall behind that net.
Yep, and Travis Zajac, really a bad season last year. He's got to step it up. Elias is just some ageist wonder. The guy never gets old.
He's my favorite.
Yeah, you're going to expect a lot of good things out of Elias because he's very consistent. Without a doubt, a Hall of Famer. He'll have his number retired in a couple of years.
He's just he's definitely going to be a Hall of Famer because he's just a great guy off of the ice. I went to Columbus for the All-Star game last year.
Yeah.
I told you that. So me and my cousin were wearing our Devil stuff, and there was like no one in that crowd with Devil stuff. I was wearing my Elias jersey.
Was the only All-Star.
Was the only Devil. So we're at the game. They're doing their pregame, and he's skating past the boards, and we're on the boards, and he gives us a little knock on the boards. I just thought that was really cool. He's just a great guy, and he loves the Devils, and I love him.
Yeah. What do you think of Pavel Zacha, their first-round pick from this year? The guy's very good, but are we going to see him this year?
Probably not. Probably not. They're gonna focus more on Helgeson to bring him up. I don't see. Usually, your first-round picks don't really make a statement unless you're a guy like Connor McDavid or Eichel, who's probably going to be up sometime this year. So look for them to be worked into the system, learn it. That's how hockey works.
Yep.
I'm not going to say it's like baseball because baseball has all the divisions, but it's definitely a lot more to work into to get part of a system because hockey is such a fast-paced game and each team has its own system to work in, so you have to practice that. So.
Yep. Rangers kick off tonight. Devils kick off on Friday. Rangers are at Chicago tonight. The Devils are home against the Winnipeg Jets on Friday night. So we got about 3 minutes left. We obviously don't have time to do our weekly picks, but Brandon and George are in the studio. And really good news coming from WRPR. Brandon and George will have their own show. It'll be every Monday from 5 to 6 p.m. just before our show. So make sure you tune into that and follow their account on Twitter. You can follow them individually at @B_Kurtzman and at George Hunkley, and follow their show Twitter. That'll be at GNB Sports Bet. So make sure you follow them on Twitter, and make sure you tune in to their first show on Monday at 5 o'clock. And let's get a little preview. No picks, but instead what we're going to do is basically our fantasy studs.
Yeah.
For the weekend.
Fantasy studs.
Am I going to go first?
Yeah.
I'll go first. I'm going to go Eli Manning, and here's why. A, they're playing San Fran. That just says it all right there. And B, Eli Manning targets all of his receivers. Odell had 5 targets. Randall had 5 targets. Harris had 5 targets. He targets a lot of guys, and he's going to have a lot of passes to Jennings and Vereen in the backfield. And you know what? Eli Manning has put up 19 and 19 and 18 3 weeks in a row. I think he's very due for a solid game. And last year against San Fran, he threw for 5 interceptions. But this year, the San Fran D is very bad. Eli has not thrown an interception yet. Is he due for an interception? Sure. But Eli Manning, I predict, going to have a very solid game on Sunday night at MetLife Stadium against the 49ers.
Brandon, your turn.
Go!
For all you Foster people who decided they were going to pick Foster in later rounds or even an early round, you're finally getting your money's worth this week, I think, against Indianapolis. He always plays well in divisional games. He's due for a bigger workload. And, I mean, look at him. Look at his numbers when he's healthy. He's a stud. He does his thing, and he gets stuff, John. I think it's a big game for Foster.
And they have no passing right now. They just
Colts
they
defense can't stop.
Hoyer starting one day, Mallet starting the other. It's just...
Well, number one, you took mine. Number two, you can always go with Julio Jones as your star of the week, but I'm gonna go with Tyrod Taylor. I think he's gonna tear up the Titans. He had an alright game last week against a decent Giants defense, and I think he's gonna bounce back. I think he's gonna have a good game.
George, you rooted for
Taylor.
the Bills.
All the time, and you're a Jets fan.
You rooted for the Bills. You did not root for just Tyrod.
I was rooting. Yes, I did.
All right. Well,
I was rooting for. I wanted the Giants to win.
Liar.
right,
No,
well,
who said that? Mike said that.
All four of us.
Brandon was the only one there, and I was rooting for the Giants to win.
I
want to see
Scott. I don't like it.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Blake Bortles been playing very well lately. I think Allen Robinson is going to have a game against the Bucs. Bucs secondary is looking awful right now, and Blake Bortles is just starting to get into the rhythm with his wide receivers. Hearns had a great week last week. I think Allen Robinson is going to have a good game this week. He's got 2 receiving TDs already. I mean, he's not your best option, but if you're looking for a guy that you need to pick up to add to that receiving core to make it a solid one, Allen Robinson, I think, is going to have a great week this week.
There you go, our fantasy studs for the week. And thank you very much for tuning in to Beast of the Week. Ryan Mork and Scott Thompson with you. Thank you very much to Bald Vinny Milano for coming on to the show. Make sure you tune in to GNB Sports Bet on Monday at 5 o'clock. And then right after that, Scott and I will be on the air from 6 to 7. Remember, it is not goodbye. It is see you later. Have a good weekend, and so long, everybody.